My future sister-in-law turned into a total bridezilla and is demanding that I sew her a princess wedding dress, or I won't be invited to the wedding. Posted by you/Harrison Berserk. My brother and future sister-in-law had planned to get married by the end of June, but then COVID happened. Long before that, he had asked me, as a wedding gift, to sew my sister-in-law's wedding dress. I am by no means a professional, but I can do simple things rather nicely. I regularly sew gifts for my family and friends, little outfits for the kids, cosplays, and easy pieces that can be worn even if they have a few imperfections. They had planned a simple wedding with only close family and friends, and my sister-in-law had her eyes on a flowing, layered Grecian tunic-style dress. It was relatively easy to make and not too expensive in terms of materials, so I agreed. But with the lockdown, things got complicated. Lockdown started here in March, so we were unable to do the fittings, and pretty soon, they realized the wedding would have to be postponed. My sister-in-law lost it, really. Crying, screaming, everything. Nothing we could do or say could calm her down until my brother asked her what she wanted to do instead. She said she now wanted a big wedding as compensation. I mean, okay, I get her frustration, I really do. But the main reason they were having a small wedding in the first place was to save money for house renovations and such. But that's none of my business, I know. My brother relented, and they are now planning a big wedding for 2021. My sister-in-law sent me her new requirements. She wants a full-skirted, silk, bodiced, lined, embroidered, trained, the whole princess-style dress. And, of course, she expects me to still pay for all the materials. I told her I didn't feel capable of making it, that it was too complicated for my skill level. She went ballistic, insisting that I was lying, that I had done complicated things before, and that it was nothing more than a couple more stitches. I've been trying to explain to my brother, since she no longer wants to speak to me, as she believes I am conspiring to ruin her wedding, that I simply do not feel able to make this dress. His solution? Either I buy the wedding dress she wants, or I won't be invited to the wedding. So I said okay. I said I wouldn't go because I couldn't do what they were asking. I can't sew that dress, and I certainly can't pay for what she wants. Now, I'm the heartless big sister who doesn't approve of her little brother's wedding or his wife, and honestly, I just want to tell them all to go stitch their two big mouths shut. Sorry if I made mistakes, as English isn't my first language. Relevant comments. Commenter. Not the jerk, this is what happens when people feel entitled to other people's time and money. I feel for you. If anything, you're doing her a favor by not agreeing to the complicated dress because, if it went wrong, she'd still be unhappy. If anyone expected me to pay for their over-the-top wedding dress, I'd have laughed my way out the door and told them to have a nice life because if they're happy to spend your money on this, they'll be happy to expect the same in the future. Ops response. I realize that I may have also set their hopes too high. Yes, I did make princess dresses for some of my nieces, but there is a world of difference between making a tulle tutu and spraying it with glitter glue for a 7-year-old, even if it does look nice from a distance, lol. Commenter 2. Duh, not the jerk. You agreed to help with a simpler wedding dress, and now she expects you to do things beyond your skill set or buy it yourself. That's unbelievable. What have your parents said about it? Ops response. Right now, it's between come on, you can do it. You have time, and you've made lovely things before. Why won't you sew her something pretty like you did for others? Don't you like her? Did you two fight? Which is, well, not so bad, I mean, they do have absolute, even if misplaced, faith in me, which is nice, and, well, you could also buy a simple dress on sale and improve it. Wouldn't that work? I'm sure it isn't that expensive, right? I'm planning on sending a selection of wedding dresses with their prices so they realize. My little brother is the youngest in the family and is rather pampered by them. Op adds an edit to her post. I am really touched by the support and the many great pieces of advice I received. Many of you, either here or via PM, gave me ideas and leads on how to handle this in the best way possible, as well as pointed out things I hadn't even considered. On Saturday, I will see my parents. I will explain to them that, as much as I appreciate their faith in my abilities, I am not up to the task, and while their support is amazing, in this case, it is misguided. I will prepare an itemized list of the costs for the first dress, the one I agreed to make, a quote from a professional seamstress in my town for the new dress my sister-in-law wants, and a few selected examples of off-the-rack dress prices to demonstrate my point. Many of you also pointed out that while my sister-in-law is planning to splurge, the question of who is going to shoulder the extra cost hasn't been raised. I want to bring up that point with them as well. Additionally, I want to emphasize that while it's nice to faire des plans sur la comète, which I believe translates to wishing upon the moon in English, for a 2021 wedding, it's not even guaranteed. Yes, having her wedding disrupted is hard, unfair, and frustrating, and to all of you going through this, I truly hope the postponement will only bring you even better things. But that does not give her the right to act this way, and I will not attend the wedding unless sincere apologies are made. Last but not least, I had no idea there were so many fabric artists, weather sewists, embroiderers, stylists, or others. I also had no idea this community would be so supportive, and I have learned a lot. So, again, thank you all. I will update next week after I have spoken with my parents. Update 1 month later. So, a lot of things happened. After a few requests, this is the kind of thing I had promised. As one of you so nicely said, my sewing style is mostly full-on Monet, the farther you are, the better it looks. But for the love of everything nice in the world, don't look at it too closely. These are the pics she sent me as examples of what she wanted: lace, beadwork, embroidery, etc. I went to my parents on Sunday. They quickly understood the huge difference in skill set required to fulfill the new request. They also discovered the wondrous world of AliExpress and Wish counterfeit designer wedding dresses because that's where they had gotten their price range ideas. Quite a few laughs were had over the expectations versus reality pics I had found. We also went over the extra costs of the new wedding, and I just advised them to be careful, as we didn't even know yet what would be possible with the epidemic threat still lurking around. 2 days later, my brother stopped by their place, before I could see him in person, accompanied by my future sister-in-law. Keep in mind, too, that this is a recap of what my parents told me happened. I wasn't there for it. Our parents took my side on the dress story, and at first, it seemed that my future sister-in-law heard them out, until they said they weren't sure they could chip in for the extra costs of the store-bought princess dress. Then, again, I wasn't there. This is what they told me happened. My sister-in-law silently mouthed a very foul word toward my mother, and my dad saw her. All hell broke loose. For a couple of weeks, everyone was screaming at everyone else, with my brother not really siding with either his fiancée or our parents. Our dad doesn't want anything to do with my future sister-in-law at all, ever. Mom is more hopeful that a nice apology and explanation could mend the fences. I still haven't been able to catch my brother face to face. He called, and it ended rather sourly since he threw my celibate status in my face as a symbol of failure. But he did later send me an apology text saying he loved me, wanted me at his wedding no matter what, and would understand if I didn't want to sew the original dress anyway. Sweet revenge, my dad was so incensed at what had happened that he took me to the fabric shop the very next day and told me, "Go wild and get yourself enough fabric for a princess dress." So, 1 pattern and 3 weeks of intense self-challenging later, it's full of mistakes and crooked sewing, but it was made with the ardent fervor of self-righteousness. And I swear to the heavens, if she doesn't apologize to my parents, I will wear this to her wedding. Edit. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words toward my family, both here and by PM, the awards, and the advice. The sewing pattern for the yellow dress is McCall 2041. My inspiration wasn't the Belle dress or the Hamilton musical. It was a book I had recently read and loved, an old horror novel called The King in Yellow. I wanted to be a queen in yellow, ominous, angry, and powerful, when I picked the fabric because I was pissed, angry, and hurt by what had happened, and I was indeed feeling spiteful. As for what my sister-in-law mouthed, well, a quick French lesson: you can worsen a lot of slurs by adding asa at the end. For example, une con is a stupid woman, une connasse is a stupid, despicable, mean woman. The slur she used was in that category, hence my usually mellow dad flying off the handle. P.S. I have decided to name that dress. And yes, thanks to all of you, she will now and forever be known as Spite Dress. Second update 5 years later. Hey, up here. I will give an update, but please respect that I will not provide any more updates after this. The marriage didn't happen. They didn't split up then, and my brother went low contact with us. Dad and I did a princess in a castle photo shoot, and he loved it. He was a dashing musketeer captain. COVID did happen a second time. She left him. We lost my little brother at the end of the pandemic for reasons I won't expand on here. It was really touch and go for my mother after that, but she pulled through with help from our community, and my parents are still there. I visit them at least once a month. I kept that post up for all the nice things people said, especially about my parents, even though I hadn't gone back to it for a long time. I miss him so much. Relevant comments. Commenter. I am so very sorry for your loss. I can't imagine how hard that must be for you and your family. And I have to say, I totally understand why everyone was saying such nice things about you and your parents. I'm glad you and your mom have your dad to be so fiercely on your team. And though it, of course, didn't turn out how anyone intended, it was incredibly kind of you to agree to gift them a wedding dress from the start, which shows what an amazing sister you were to him.